Hey, everyone. Welcome to Locked On Lakers for Thursday. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. After some confusing comments from Deandre Ayton, Lakers fans are left with a really important question. Is Luka Dončić healthy? That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, no matter how or where you get your podcasts. This one's always going to be free. It's never going to be behind a paywall, and you can hang out on Locked On Lakers on YouTube. We're over 36,000 subscribers. Andy are all getting a little nervous because we are getting a little deeper into the preseason. We are in the thick of week 2, this big, long week where the Lakers are between preseason games, and they were supposed to be getting a lot of work done together, building chemistry, building continuity, and that isn't happening because their best players aren't on the floor. And we're getting it's a little confusing.
The situation with LeBron and his preseason availability, that has been covered and discussed a lot, including on our recent shows. Shams Charania reporting on ESPN earlier in the week that for the time being, the expectation seems to be that LeBron will not participate in any of the preseason games, with the hope that he will be available for the October 21st regular season opener against the Warriors. Obviously not ideal. We've gone through all of the reasons why this, to some respect, cuts out the legs of training camp in terms of everything that you want to try to accomplish. But it doesn't necessarily mean that nothing can be done or nothing can be installed. Like hell, JJ Redick during Wednesday's practice talked about how there were some new installs on both sides of the ball. So they are looking
doing stuff.
However, Deandre Ayton in his post-practice availability, and I want to preface by saying Ayton did not seem in a particularly good mood, which I think led to him being kind of short with some responses to questions, kind of interrupting them before they were finished. He looked like he wanted to get out of there. And I don't say that to be critical of Ayton, more just to provide context to what may explain possibly his response. But he was asked about just, generally what they've been working on, how things have been progressing, yada, yada. And then at one point was asked about what it has been like to work with LeBron and Luka. And his response was, I haven't. And then later added that, for the time being, they have not actually done this yet. And that, they haven't worked together. And then he was only there for a little bit longer. And then his time was taken away. But he said, I haven't. It's something that I've been waiting on. Just got to prepare. JJ and the coaching staff have something where they can put stuff together for us to really grow chemistry. And it is possible that Ayton was answering this through the lens of, I have not played with them in a preseason game together, which we all know they've played 2 preseason games. Luka and LeBron did not play in either one. However, it had some people at practice, and I was not able to go, but I did do a little bit of calling around to people that were there. There's a lot of confusion as to whether Ayton was actually saying, I have not worked with either much in practice either.
What did it mean? I haven't worked with them together, which is obvious because LeBron hasn't practiced yet. So definitionally, he can't have worked with LeBron and Luka because LeBron and Luka have not been on the floor. And so that part of it, I think where it's getting people slightly confused is the idea does that mean LeBron and Luka or LeBron or Luka? Because while we know that LeBron hasn't gone full contact and done all that stuff and has only done individual side work and stuff, which continues and is going to, seems like it could be the deal, at least through the rest of this week and probably into next. Luka supposedly practiced last week. And
we were told he looks great. We were like told this.
And assuming that's true, and this is even becomes less about parsing what Ayton is saying in terms of like, wait, when was Luka on the floor? When wasn't he? This week, Luka missed or was held out of the 2 games the Lakers have played. He did not play in Friday's preseason opener. He did not play in Sunday's preseason game. He has not really practiced, though, this week. So he went from reportedly practicing last week, looking good, and then held out because Eurobasket and fatigue and whatever. And now he's been more limited this week in practice. And so I don't know what you're doing at home, Andy, but I'm waving my big red flag because that's not good.
Well, it's also weird. Like again, with the continual caveat of DeAndre's comments were a bit confusing. Thursday, the Lakers are going to be practicing. I'm looking to be there. I imagine there are going to be a lot of questions looking to clarify this, but Luka seemingly downgrading his availability this week in practice was in and of itself a bit odd, just because it's like, all right, you didn't play in these preseason games. We were under the impression practicing in full. What exactly is going on? It was kind of weird anyway. And, gets to the reasons why I've expressed my continual concern that I don't think the Lakers are getting the most out of training camp that they want or possibly even should. But now with Ayton's comments, like the whole idea of Luka not playing in these 2 preseason games to start the preseason would have been like, all right, there's 6 of them. That's a lot anyway. He played in Eurobasket. He's been practicing in full. So, okay, we'll let him participate in 3 of the 4 games and it'll be fine in the end, assuming they really make the most of those games Luka's out there. But with that seemingly added context of we're not now sure how much Luka actually has been practicing, that makes all of a sudden him not practicing with everybody else on Tuesday and Wednesday more concerning, or at the very least more confusing.
No, I'm going to go with concerning because I get it. And like people are picking on Ayton and how, they're like, I was looking on social media and stuff today, Twitter and whatnot, for confusing. Oh, this is just Ayton, he's like, separate DeAndre Ayton's comments. DeAndre Ayton's comments are the catalyst for even more speculation just about Luka. The Luka not being on the floor this week reportedly participating in a limited fashion. That's what we were told. It's what the Lakers have essentially said. The debate, and we can carry this through after the break. It was a big day as well for like other teams and other franchises posting, we are grinding in preseason. And you keep seeing the picture of the Lakers mantra about consistency in their work and championship habits and championship effort and championship all these other things, and it's belied by who is on the floor. Now, Marcus Smart, I thought was going to be out a little while longer. He was back earlier in the week. He's got the flu, so he's not practicing, but he will be back out on the floor. I think Gabe Vincent.
Hopefully he gave it to nobody else.
Yeah, I think that you send a guy home when he's sick.
Absolutely.
That's what you do. Gabe Vincent, they are tending to a knee injury here that kept him out at the beginning of camp. And so like guys have dings that you need to keep up on. But the question has been, are the Lakers wasting the preseason? Are they taking it seriously? Are they a serious organization? And I'm not entirely sure that's the right framing, and I'll explain what I mean next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by Quo. One of the tools that makes a huge difference for business owners is Quo. formerly Open Phone. It's the same great business phone system you've heard us talk about for many, many earlier shows, just new name. And here's why it matters. Every missed call, that is money left on the table. And when every customer conversation counts, you need a phone system that keeps you connected 24/7. Quo is the #1 business system that streamlines customer communications. It works right through an app on your phone or your computer, so you don't have to carry 2 phones or rely on a landline. And I love how Quo lets your team share one number, collaborate on calls and texts, just like a shared inbox, so no customer gets left hanging. Their built-in AI agent, that's a game changer. It can answer after-hours calls, capture leads, and keep business moving even when you're off the clock. So see why over 90,000 businesses trust Quo. Again, formerly Open Phone. Get started free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you got existing numbers with another service, Quo ports them over at no extra charge. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers.
So like you said, Andy, a lot of things could be cleared up Thursday when the Lakers practicing, Friday when they play Sunday, and
they are not practicing on Friday. JJ's already said they're not.
They're already for travel. But they play on Sunday and they play on Tuesday. So
they play in LA on Sunday. I think they're just not practicing.
They're just taking the day off.
I'm pretty sure. I will double check the calendar.
No, you could be right. I may have missed that. But anyway, so at least they are scheduled to practice.
Well, they're traveling to crypto. So I mean,
traffic is brutal.
Depending on where some guys live.
I gotta admit, I just sort of assume they're playing in weird places in the preseason. I always lose track.
Yeah.
So it's good to know. But either way, scheduled to practice on Thursday. If Luka's on the floor participating in full, a lot of this becomes a bit, sort of a moot point. But the question is sort of, are the Lakers sort of unserious about what they're doing in this preseason? Or are they just not able to put the guys on the floor that you would want to in the way that you would want to? Like, it's pretty clear to me that the LeBron stuff is not the Lakers being unserious or LeBron blowing off the preseason, because while he said, and his whole team said, like, we overdid it last year, there's plenty of middle ground between overdoing it and not participating at all. The Lakers aren't playing. LeBron's not playing because he's not healthy enough to play right now, and they don't want this thing to linger into the regular season. I think that's pretty clear. If Luka's dinged up too, they have larger problems potentially. And, that is one explanation, at least, that is, to me, more worrisome than just, are they doing too much load management or something in the preseason?
Well, I think they're both concerning. I mean, obviously, Luka's health is concerning if there is an issue. And to be clear, we do not know that. And the Lakers are, frankly, very opaque with this stuff. And by opaque, I mean often dishonest. But like the truth is, we don't know anything for the time being. Nobody, to the best of my knowledge, has heard anything about Luka dealing with something specific. Obviously, that's worrisome in and of itself. But I don't agree with you that it is not worrisome if they are essentially opting not to have their full squad out there when they could during these practices.
Well, I didn't say it's not worrisome. I said it's more worrisome if he's hurt.
Sure, but you said before, like, the idea of it, not being serious, that's something you're not concerned about. It is something I'm concerned about, because we have a track record of the Lakers, other than one season with JJ Redick, who showed up a house of fire and an absolute ball of intensity, and wanting to establish that tone early on from his coaching tenure. And we've also seen JJ say, I need to dial certain stuff back, which makes me wonder if this maybe is a process of dialing things back. I will also acknowledge that when it comes to superstars, they often have their own teams controlling these things. And that may be at play here too.
I think that was something I wanted to get into in a second here. Yeah,
but, the fact remains, to the best of anybody's knowledge, Luka is not dealing with something specific. Alperen Şengün, Nikola Jokic, Dennis Schroeder, these guys who all played in Eurobasket are all playing in preseason games. We heard a lot about the, not just the necessity of training camp, but the opportunity that training camp presented, to not, as Rob Pelinka put it, assemble the plane in midair. I'm not saying that blowing off camp or not getting the most out of it means that the plane is 70,000 feet in the air and you're working in real time. I'm just saying it's not taking full advantage, at least theoretically, of the things we were told that they cared about so much.
It's part of the reason that I tend to think that guys are either, and we're really, to be honest, we're really talking about Luka and LeBron. That guys are either more banged up than we're being let on. The explanation with Luka of this is how his team wants to do it coming out of Eurobasket, they believe that this is how, he should be managed in the preseason. He's, as far as I know, participated fully with Dallas in, previous posts, but went deep, played last year, ended up getting hurt, and it kind of screwed up his whole preseason,
of course,
or screwed up his whole season. So it is very possible that this is coming, at least in part, some of Luka's preseason plan is dictated by Team Luka, in which case the Lakers have to make a decision of what do you do? Which is more important? I think most people would probably say they're going to defer to what Luka wants to do physically. And so those are the things that make me worry more about the injury stuff, because I agree with you. They spent a ton of time talking about it. The first day or two of practice was filled with, oh my God, we're working so hard. And oh my God, the suicides and the fitness.
And for what it's worth, Deandre Ayton said that the practices have still been really hard. I mean, yes, that has been emphasized a lot, that the guys that are out there practicing in full are actually practicing hard. And, there's a chance that Luka's individual workouts, LeBron's individual workouts are, pretty taxing workouts as well, but they're not the same thing as working on the court with all your teammates.
I'm not worried about fitness, really, from either of them. It's great to say that about Luka, isn't it? But I'm certainly not worried about LeBron's fitness, and I'm not worried about Luka's. But if they are not practicing full speed with the team, it is presumably, it certainly is in the case of LeBron, because something is preventing them from doing it. So I think, when we talk about trades, for example, when can you be critical of Rob Pelinka? Why he should have made this trade, he should have done that. Before, you have to know what they said no to, like what was available that they said no to. And I think before you can say the Lakers are an unserious team, that, the championship this and championship that, and the mantras that they put around the facility and all the stuff about championship shape is just silliness, and they just aren't serious. You have to know what they're passing up. Like, can Luka be on the floor? I don't know. Could LeBron play if this was a playoff game? Probably, but it isn't. And so without knowing what's going on with Luka, it's hard for me to say the Lakers are doing it wrong. It just may be that they can't do what they want to do, which to me is worse, because at least if you're not doing what all of us kind of would love to see, which is building that continuity and all that, at least you're not doing those things with healthy bodies. If they're not healthy, that's worse to me.
I mean, again, they are both bad in their own right. I don't know which is even more of a lingering bad effect, because you worry about an injury nagging over the course of a season, but at the same time, the habits and chemistry and cohesion that you don't establish in the preseason can also haunt you over the course of the regular season.
Say I am of those two things, for me, the lingering injury is a bigger
I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here ranking which of them bothers me more without even knowing somebody's actually hurt.
I'm just saying, if broadly,
my overall
comparison
concern,
you're making, I'm more concerned about the injury.
Sure. I'm concerned about both, but my overarching concern, regardless of what I would rank number one, is that they're not getting the most out of this preseason that they can. And if nothing else, the reasons that they're not, it's becoming more abundantly clear, are not clear to us. Like something is not being explained, because more and more as this goes on with Luka, it just doesn't really make sense.
And I think that's the thing that Lakers are going to need to try to clarify.
With, again, the acknowledgement that Ayton may have just phrased this clumsly and wanted to get the hell out of there.
And I'm just not. I'm taking DeAndre out of this. I think, because again, I think there's so much wiggle room.
I say that only because Ayton's comments sparked them.
Right. I know. I know. I mean, that's what got a lot of this conversation really going. But I don't think it's really even fair to DeAndre, because if the question is, what's it like to work with Luka and LeBron? He hasn't worked with Luka and LeBron. LeBron hasn't played at all. And so I don't know. I haven't done it yet. So I think I'm trying to take him out of the equation. And I think, if nothing else, the Lakers need to recognize that the temperature around the city is starting to rise a little bit, and you can only go so long with Luka kind of not playing for reasons before somebody is, ought to probably give one. And certainly if he doesn't play in Sunday's game, we'll know maybe there is something going on here. And, it's like the Lakers need to be healthy first and foremost with their star players before the season starts. Andy, we talked on Wednesday's show about the decision 2.0 and how it disappointed some people who felt that LeBron, put out a cheesy commercial or took advantage of people's emotions or whatever. There's one guy at the very least who is taking that sentiment to a court of law, and we'll explain next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by Prize Picks. Every day we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Playing Prize Picks is a fun, simple way to add even more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley rushing for a touchdown, 2 touchdowns. However you want to pick, you're in the game. And I love how quick it is. You can make your lineup in under a minute. They've got a new feature called Stacks. So if you want to ride with a player, you can select their passing yards, rushing yards, and touchdowns all in one lineup. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right.
I think, Andy, it's fair to say that we in America are a litigious people.
Mm-hmm.
We enjoy a good lawsuit. We enjoy dragging people to court. Sometimes, though, those lawsuits are a little frivolous. And I think we've got one of those today.
Per TMZ Sports, Andrew Garcia, a 29-year-old lifelong Lakers fan, I'm reading this right now from TMZ Sports, filed a lawsuit in small claims court in LA County on Wednesday, claiming LeBron James owes him $865.66 after he being Garcia, says the Hooper seemingly intimated that he was about to announce his retirement with the big lead up that turned out to be LeBron announcing that he is unretired from Hennessy. He is now in the Henny business, which it turns out, I didn't even realize this, Henny and Lobos, his tequila company, they have the same overarching owner. So he's essentially just expanding his liquor family. But a lot of people, because LeBron, called this the next big decision 2.0, people have been speculating about when LeBron is going to finally call it quits. Might he announce this soon? Yada, yada. There were many people who took this, despite what we tried to warn people. It's probably a commercial. There were some people who thought this might be LeBron's final season, announcement coming, and they pounced on the opportunity to buy very expensive tickets because the prices went up for the final game of this season for the Lakers. It's going to be in crypto, and theoretically, the last time you would see LeBron play in a regular season game. For the time being, we have no idea if that's the case. I don't even think LeBron knows whether or not that will be the case. But this guy's mad and feels that LeBron owes him almost $870 now.
And to be fair, this fellow isn't the only guy who scooped up those tickets. The resale went from like $85, like lowest, they call that, where the get in price of like $85. Lakers tickets, by the way, are really expensive. So like $85 gets you like the worst seat in the building. But that jumped quickly on Monday with the tease of this Tuesday drop. That jumped to like $450 became like the get in price. And that's apparently what this guy paid. On the one hand, I mean, I feel some sympathy for the guy in the sense of like, it's a lot of money, but like, we really shouldn't be setting up, like using the legal system to protect ourselves from our own stupidity.
I mean,
like that one, like the number one rule of buying tickets is caveat emptor, let the buyer beware.
Particularly in sports, like this is not, say, buying tickets for a concert. Let's say, for example, I just learned this because I drove past a billboard near where I live in LA, but apparently in September, The Who did a farewell tour at the Hollywood Bowl, which is hilarious because The Who have been doing farewell tours since Brian and I were kids. Like
I saw him at Busch Stadium in St. Louis when I was like in high school or something like that. I think that might have been a farewell.
It was a farewell tour. Their first farewell tour was in 1982. I'm not joking.
No, I believe you.
It was in 1982. Like, something like that, even with the farewell tour of it, and the Who are down to 2 original members from the band, you buy those tickets presuming Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend.
I was about to say, to be fair to the Who, those are the 2 most important members of the band.
Well, and they're also the only ones still alive,
right? But it's not. It would be different if it was just like John Entwistle and like
honestly. I don't want to go down too far a rabbit hole. I'd rather see Keith Moon than any of them. But
I understand that. But like in terms of your headliners,
sure. Like, but the point being, I don't want to take this out of control. The point being, when you buy tickets for a concert, you expect the members of the band to participate in the concert. Sports, there's always the caveat of injury, particularly if you're talking about a guy who will be 41 and therefore may have to retire. Like,
it's not how I would have done it, but like, I look at it though, but like when the time comes for LeBron's last game, oh man, like that is going to be an expensive ticket. Like this guy's stupidity aside, the farewell tour is actually going to be one go round. And it's not, he's not going to do 30,
but at least wait to buy
of it.
Wait to buy these tickets till LeBron's.
Well, no, because if you do that, if like he confirms it, then the price goes up 5-fold.
Yeah, but at least then you're buying what you want. Maybe you're paying more, but you're buying the thing that you want. Now, this Garcia fellow has tickets to a regular season game that may not be LeBron's last regular season game. And if the Lakers have their playoff position solidified, there's a 50-50 chance at least LeBron doesn't play in this game at all because he'll be resting.
And you can't even be like, well, he might be resting, but at least I'll get to see some stars on the other team. Because by then, the Jazz, who are one of the few teams in the West who can legitimately stake claim to being really bad if with relatively minimal effort. I mean, there are other teams that would have to kind of put a shoulder into it. The Jazz, particularly if they end up trading Lauri Markkanen, don't. Because if they don't end up trading Lauri Markkanen, he'll stop playing in February anyway. So, like, you're going to be seeing, LeBron James in street clothes versus, Taylor Hendricks or whatever that guy's name is.
He'll probably still be playing Ace Bailey.
Maybe depends how well he's playing. But like, I'd be chapped too if I was paying that much money to watch Bronny play, against Isaiah Collier. Like, I wouldn't be thrilled.
Again, I wouldn't be thrilled. I get why Mr. Garcia would not be thrilled. If Mr. Garcia is a big enough NBA fan that he would do this in the first place, he damn well should have known the risks from the outset.
No, I agree.
Again, it was pretty clear this was not going to be a retirement.
Radio Star Killer mentions Dead and Company and their constant farewell tours. Are there any members of the original band that are still with
Bob? I believe Bob Weir still
is. Bob Weir still doing it?
I think he does, and maybe
Mickey Hart.
I'm always pausing to try to remember. Is this member of the Dead still alive?
Yes, I know.
I believe at least one of the drummers is still alive, and I think Mickey Hart. But
okay, good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Bobby Weir and Mickey Hart. Thank you, Radio Star Killer. But yeah, we are reaching a point of time when you do need to point out that people are alive. Dolly Parton had to do that on Wednesday. She had to send out a tweet letting everybody know she's fine because her sister scared everybody. She was getting like kidney stone surgery or something. So anyway, Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you can go hang out with over 36,000 subscribers to the channel, all of whom will be paying extra close attention to Thursday's practice, finding out what Luka Dončić is doing. We, of course, will tell you for Friday's show. Hopefully it's good news that puts some of this stuff to bed, but we'll see. And we'll see you tomorrow.